Monday morning, folks, and welcome to a brand new episode of FINMET Mondays. Thank you for the overwhelming response on the previous video. We gotten a lot of engagement, and thank you for that. Today, Sunil, I think there was an interesting article that came regarding RBI's purchase of gold in terms of increasing its reserves, and I was just wondering what you made of that and what that means for Indian investors at large.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have been said and written about that move. I think from a FinMet point of view, what we would like to point out to investors is that it really reflects the way central banks think.
Mm,
So let's go back a bit. In 2009, RBI's holdings of gold were about 350 tons,
mhm,
and about 65 tons of that was held overseas. Over the last 15 years, they've been buying, and RBI has bought more than 400 tons.
mm,
And all that purchase has taken place in the international markets. So the current holdings are 800 tons.
yeah,
And out of that, before this move, out of that 400, over 400 tons was overseas because they've been buying overseas. And so I think RBI felt like there's too much proportion of physical that's over there, and we need to bring it back into India. But I think there's a very subtle message here that people need to be aware of. Bringing back gold basically means, from our RBI point of view, is that we're not looking to sell this anytime soon.
mm,
Okay, this is going to be in our reserves for years to come. RBI is very well aware that sending gold back is an impossibility given what happened in 1991. So what RBI is basically signaling to the market is we believe in gold. Gold will be there as a part of our holdings as long as we can hold it. We have no intention to sell, even though the prices may be going towards 2400, 2500, whatever price the price goes to. We're not selling gold. Right? And so therefore, I think it signals to people that this is how they need to look at central bank buying. Central bank buying is long-term investment buying.
right.
Central banks are buying not to just take profit if the price goes up. They're here
Mm.
to hold it and hold it for years to come. And that's certainly positive for gold price.
Interesting, interesting. We also have election results coming out this week, Snail, and from an Indian perspective, that is going to really, I guess, be bullish for markets. But what is your take on that? How do you think, if any, impact these election results will have specifically on the precious metals markets?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of impacts. Firstly, I really think that in terms of the global markets, there's hardly going to be an impact. So
Yeah.
there's no short-term impact in terms of price because of the elections. What it
Mm,
will do is it may trigger some retail buying because
mm,
people who are holding back, who are uncertain, saying, "I don't know what's going to happen. Let me keep cash with me because something may unusual may happen." I think once this uncertainty event goes away,
mm.
people may start resuming buying again and saying, okay, I want to hold gold. I don't want to hold cash anymore. And so, therefore, it may spur retail demand, especially going into the Diwali season and seasonal buying into July, August, and September. So it should, once the uncertainty is over, it should be mildly positive for retail gold buying in India.
Understood. Understood. Thanks for that, Sunil. Let's quickly look into the technical outlook for US spot gold and silver for the coming week. So, Sunil, last week we had mentioned that the price range for gold is going to be very narrow. It was not going to be extremely, volatile as we would have expected the past weeks to be. And that's exactly what we see happening where I've encircled this point. You saw markets move in a very tight range. The supports and the resistances remain exactly the same. There are no fundamental changes in those levels. But what I would probably want to draw your attention towards is this specific technical indicator, which is stochastic RSI. This is an indicator that measures how the price and momentum of an instrument are trading. And you see both of these levels, both of these lines within the stochastic RSI are below the 20% mark, which indicates that the markets are oversold and there is a chance for a reversal. That being said, you also don't have a lot of bullish sentiment right now in the gold markets. So we're basically entering this week again with a very similar narrow range where you would expect markets to consolidate and really looking for some direction, either upwards or downwards. For US spot silver, we had drawn this line and we're given this another leg up, saying that this is going to be the trajectory, I think about 2 to 3 weeks back, and you see the markets kind of behaving in the similar fashion. You've seen markets return to this support, which is a 30 support, and now I expect this another leg up probably in the markets. Over the last few weeks, Sunil, we've seen silver really outperform gold in many ways. And that's also the reason why I slightly have contrasting views for silver and gold. I said for gold that there is possibility of a correction because that is more related to the interest rate outlook. But for silver, it seems more detached from what's happening on the fundamental side, and so there's a possibility of actually we're having another leg up. In terms of fundamental data, the only key data point that we have for the week is non-farm payrolls. This curiously last month we saw this number come in at almost a 6 month low, and that was interesting, right? Jobs was set to be one of the strongest pillars of the US economy, and that kind of surprised at the downside. It'd be interesting to see what the May data conveys. Similarly, for the unemployment rate as well, you've seen the trend actually moving up from 3.6 4 to 5 months back to 3.9%. That would also be something that would be looked into. Well, Sunil, thanks for the insight into RBI's move as well as on what the elections, how that will shape the price and how it will shape the outlook for the markets going forward. Let's look at how the prices are going to shape up, what interesting developments happen in the US markets as well, and Indian markets definitely. But till then, thank you so much and goodbye.